Hello, listeners, and welcome to the very first episode of Bridebook Unveiled, our brand new podcast where we explore the enchanting world of weddings in Virginia's Blue Ridge. I'm your host and editor, Liz Long, along with my amazing associate editor, Sarah Rydell, and today we have a truly special treat for you. We're kicking off our shiny new podcast series with the shiniest of topics, jewelry. And not just any jewelry, but the exquisite creations from AmRhein's Jewelry, a beloved legacy business in the Roanoke region. Joining us today are Jacquelyn Amrhein-Sells, the owner and marketing manager, and Tom Sells, the general manager, graduate gemologist, and appraiser. Welcome, Jackie and Tom.
Hello, nice to be here.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. Before we dive into some dazzling details, let's start with a bit of history with AmRhein's. Jackie, Tom, can you tell us about the history of AmRhein's Jewelry and how long you've been in the business?
Well, the AmRhein's Jewelry started in 1921 with my great-grandfather.
100 plus years. That's amazing.
Yeah, we'll be doing starting our 104th year.
That's amazing.
In November. And so he came from Baltimore with his wife, and they came to Roanoke. We don't really know why, but we
why not,
assume.
Railroad is
yeah,
sure,
probably
okay.
the railroad. Right. And so he opened up a manufacturing business downtown on Kirk. And so we did manufacturing for within 100 miles of all businesses, all jewelry stores.
Wow.
Within 100 miles. And then we moved over to Campbell and his twin sons, who one of them was my grandfather and my great uncle, moved over there, and they teamed up together. And then in 1973, around about, my father came into the business and he decided to do retail or open up a retail. So we've kind of done the whole gamut from, manufacturing, designing, creating to the retail. Yeah.
That's amazing. And we're going to talk about custom jewelry in just a minute. I'm very excited to get to that. As somebody who's been married for a long time, I'm always looking for something now. So we're excited to get into that. But Jackie, growing up in the jewelry industry must have been, really a treat, just a true experience. And so I'm curious, what do you remember most vividly from your childhood and teenage years having grown up in the jewelry industry?
Well, my earliest memory is when we had a retail shop in West Salem Plaza, which is now the Lowe's there in Salem. And I remember at like 3 or 4 waiting at the door and opening the door up for people that wanted to come in. But it's just, everything was paper with the customer's information. And I just remember going into my grandfather's shop and watching him do work, and I got to play with all the tools and all of that. And then as I grow up, they would ask me questions about what I thought about different things, new ideas that they had for the store, and just always being around the conversations, in family life and, talking about the store and different topics.
Diamonds are in your blood, it sounds like.
Yeah, pretty much. Listening to all the changes and everything like
I love that. The history behind it, though, that's so important. You're carrying on a family legacy. Never mind the services that you're providing for your clients, but just the amazing way that your family has integrated into the Roanoke Valley in such a way.
It's an honor, really.
Mm-hmm. Well, and speaking of services and expertise, Tom, do you mind sharing some of that AmRhein's Jewelry offers? Because I know that there are a lot of great things when you walk in the door that we can learn about.
Absolutely. Well, we'll start from just your basic custom design jewelry. We can fix just about anything that you can bring us. So we have an amazing jeweler that is capable of doing just about anything. Appraisal services, estate services, whether you're looking to sell things, repurpose things, value things so they can be distributed amongst family members themselves. I would say just about any specific jewelry need, whether it's Mother's Day, Christmas, a birthday, a christening. But basically, we're a full-service jewelry store, which means that anything that's jewelry-related, we can do. And most of those things we can do in-house. But if we need to, we can, for example, make something from complete scratch, starting from even raw gold and turning it into an amazing creation.
Well, and for our brides and engaged couples listening, I think that, you've mentioned the holidays and the wonderful occasions and wedding. It's not just about the rings. I mean, you're looking at all sorts of jewelry that a bride might want to adorn herself with, or a groom who needs his bands or any sort of other jewelry he's looking for.
There are a lot of very special things that we do for customers. Recently, we produced a piece that made a very beautiful bracelet for a client that was from another family member, and they wanted to repurpose it so she could wear it. So it's kind of that something old, something borrowed.
Right. I mean, that's a key, right? You got to have that.
And so it's the smallest of things. It wasn't a big thing. It wasn't expensive, but it was very meaningful, and the impact on the bride and the mother.
Right. And theoretically, if that bride had a child and wanted to pass that on, you were providing a family heirloom.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's really beautiful. And what would you consider your expertise to be?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. Well,
you have too many, I think.
No, I wouldn't say that. But what I would say is, having my GG, got it back in '94. We have done a lot of things for a lot of people. But I would say for me, it's more about specifically diamonds, in the creation itself, kind of getting all the things that you need together and helping in that design process. I may not be the person that actually does the work, but as far as assembling all the things you need, going out and sourcing the things that you need, special cutting a diamond here or special cutting a colored stone there.
I imagine there are pieces we have no idea, like how much work goes into every individual piece.
There's absolutely no. But appraising. So I would say diamonds, custom appraising. Obviously, I help run the business on the backside, but I say from the customer interaction perspective, that's certainly it. Yeah.
Right. And so, am I saying it right? A gemologist? That is your role.
Graduate gemologist.
Okay. You sent me. We were talking about this interview and setting it up, and gemologist sounds like a very fancy, interesting word.
It is very fancy.
And I'd love to know more for those of us who want to get into diamonds. How does one become a gemologist?
Money and time.
Oh well,
Money and time. No. So your graduate gemologist degree is from Gemological Institute of America, and you have two options. You can do it online, which takes, I guess, about 2 years, 2.5 years, something like that. Or you can do it intent study, 6 months, and so that's on location.
Wow.
So I did it in New York City, and basically January through July. It's every day, 9 to 5, like a job. 2 or 3 chapters on the evening.
You're getting your degree and
pound the work on the weekends. Yeah. It's a lot of hands-on things. To pass the colored stone portion, you have to ID 20 stones, and you have to get 20 stones correct. If you miss one, you start the class all over again, and it's about 3.5 months.
That's a lot of pressure.
It's tremendous amount of pressure.
Diamonds under pressure.
He did a great job.
Tremendous amount of pressure.
Must have.
But it is a really cool. It's a really cool title. It's basically the higher end of rocks. You only deal with the gems. There's lots of rocks out there, but we deal specifically with gems. So there is a reasonably short list. 60, 70, 80 stones are primary.
A short list. He just said 70 stones. Oh, my gosh.
But then you go into what's called B chart, and there's going to be some stones that you just don't see very often, more collector things, and maybe they come out, every couple of years they find a deposit of something, and then it hits the market, and then it goes away again.
Cool. That must be pretty exciting. I not to put you on the spot, but has there been a moment in your experience where you've seen a gem or a stone that you don't come across, right? Absolutely. Is that from like a family heirloom sort of situation?
Well, it can be anything.
Yeah.
Really, I have seen some beautiful vintage things that have come from clients. Early 1900s, late 1800s from Russia. Just very unique kinds of things. From basic everyday stones that are faceted in a very unique way, to just one-of-a-kind pieces, specimens that just don't get cut or polished very often. So yes, absolutely.
That's
a
really
lot
exciting.
Of unusual things.
That you mentioned that you can work with a piece that's 100 years old. That's,
more.
I mean, as old or older than the legacy of your store. I mean, that's really incredible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really neat. And so, going back to, we were talking about engagement rings a moment ago. And so people always wonder when buying engagement rings, let's talk about this, a natural diamond or lab grown, because I was unfamiliar. I mean, I knew it existed, but I was curious about what that means between what is a natural diamond or a lab grown diamond.
That's a great question. And that is, that is a big part of our industry. It is a topic of discussion every day in our industry currently. Lab growns have been around for a long time. We're talking 10 plus years. As far as what are the differences between the two, a lab-grown diamond and a natural diamond both possess the same chemical, physical, and optical properties. So a lab-grown is a diamond, but it is started from a seed, and that seed can either be a natural crystal, like a sliver of a diamond, or it can actually be a lab-grown diamond. And there are multiple processes. There's two in particular. There's CVD and there's HPHT. So two different processes, and they grow diamonds. So basically take a diamond, stick it in a small reactor, turn it on, let it grow to wherever you want it to grow to, and then when it stops, you pull it out, and then it becomes just like every other diamond. So you're going to go through the same exact process of cutting and polishing, but it is just started by man.
Wow.
And there's
so much
no
science
limit.
involved.
Yes.
And there's no limit to how many can be produced. Economies of scale is a real big thing. And so the prices of those things continue to fall as production gets better. And as they get to grow things longer, they're yielding larger stones of higher quality, very inexpensively.
The evolution of that from beginning to now must be incredible.
Is absolutely amazing. Yeah, I've watched it for years and years and years. And we as a store made a conscious decision not to carry labs.
Okay.
Up until December 2 years ago.
Really
Our
recent.
customers were coming in and
Interesting.
asking to see them. And so we were up in the air about, are we going to do this? Are we going to bite the bullet? What are we
Yeah,
going to do?
but it's not a trend. I mean, if it's been happening for a long time.
Well, it is definitely a trend.
Okay, all right.
But it was not economical in those time periods. They couldn't grow them quick enough. The quality was very inconsistent. I'm probably not going to say this in the absolute correct way, but it was very expensive, and it really wasn't worth a customer's time or money to buy one at that stage.
amount that goes
but
into it,
now,
right.
in today's time, fast forward 8-10 years, you can buy a 1 carat round lab grown for $850.
Wow.
Where a natural stone of a nice quality is $6,000.
Right.
So you can save a lot of money on a larger stone. On the smaller ones, no. There's not a big difference in price for the smaller stones. But the bigger ones is really where you find that massive separation of price. But there are some things about lab growns that customers really need to understand. And the most important thing is they really don't have a lot of value.
So if they're trying to resell it.
There's really no value at that point because the price continues to fall. So where is the bottom? There's a need for this, and there's a great need for this for lots of different reasons. And you imagine that client budget. A typical person wants to spend $5,000 on a beautiful ring, and she wants a 2 carat. We cannot achieve that.
Right.
5-6 years ago. That was not possible. But today, it is. So you can wear a 2 carat lab grown diamond.
Right.
And still get a beautiful setting and still achieve that budget of $5,000. So there are both positives and negatives when it comes to.
I mean, I love the idea of a budget, but there it sounds like there's something. I mean, you have been kind enough and resourceful enough to include that in your services and offerings, but it sounds like a true diamond is sort of where my heart might be at.
Absolutely. I think every customer. I
hate
think
to be like Marilyn Monroe, but
I mean, absolutely. I mean, we have a certain group of customers that are natural, and don't want to even entertain the idea of labs. There are others, and they tend to be younger, that are interested in the labs for a lot of different reasons, but they see that they can get a 2 carat and the ring for $5,000 when you're not spending $27,000
More bling for the buck.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, things are expensive, so they'll take that money and you'll market to something else.
Oh, it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like the trend that we're seeing is that they'll get a lab-grown diamond as the center stone, and then they'll take the natural diamonds and add, like a 3-stone ring
idea.
or do designs on the side, and then also use the natural diamonds in their band. So that way they can afford everything that they want. And that's kind of.
So when I see them out in public and I see this great big honking diamond on their hand, they might have had a little bit of.
Don't ask if it's real, because the answer is always going to be yes.
Interestingly enough, statistics say that last year, approximately 50% of diamonds sold within the United States were lab-grown.
Really?
Which
That's a
is
pretty large percentage.
It's a significant number.
Yeah.
It is a significant number.
Well, that's very interesting. I had no idea the differences on that, but I do love to look at other engagement rings on ladies' fingers when I'm out and just observing the beauty that is a diamond, I guess, of natural or lab-grown.
Right.
And you're definitely going to see a lot of labs, and you're really not going to be able to tell the difference.
Well, and that was my follow-up. I certainly wouldn't know the difference.
You
You
wouldn't be
might,
able to
I don't
tell.
know. But to the bare eye,
It is challenging. It is challenging, even for someone like myself. Within the industry, you need tools and technology in order to help you find that.
That's interesting. Gosh.
Well, he has that scanner. You have a scanner
there's
that
a
you
tester.
put on a tester that he
There's
puts
a
on
tester,
the diamond.
but there's a variety of other things that you use, techniques that you use, and
Sure.
they typically will inscribe on the girdle of the diamond and the lab, or LGD. They're supposed to provide that information on the stone itself to help people like ourselves ID and separate the differences.
I love the options. I love that you're honest about the pros and cons. It depends on what your heart desires, I suppose.
Absolutely. And it's a challenge, to be honest.
Yeah.
And to tell somebody that, you're going to buy this beautiful ring and we have value in the mounting and the natural diamonds on the side, but that center stone really doesn't. And I think a lot of people are thinking that they want to get a natural one later. They just can't afford it now.
Sure.
So we try to encourage people to invest in a really nice mounting that will last you for a long time. And then when you get to that point that you can afford a really nice one, we'll take the lab out and we'll put a really nice one in. And so therefore you've already got that beautiful part that you love, which is this wonderful mounting. And then we just take that lab out, put a natural one in.
I think that makes for a beautiful anniversary gift. That sounds wonderful.
There are many opportunities that us men need.
Well, and yeah, that's true. And I love that Jackie, you specifically mentioned that you can build around your band, because I know mine is beautiful and sort of straightforward as a square. Yeah. And so I love the idea that when we hit our 10th a couple of years ago, but when we hit our 15th or our 20th, I could go back and build around that with whatever you're offering. Yeah. And so, I assume you have to do that a lot. We mentioned, custom jewelry and estate jewelry. And so I love that idea that you can take a piece of estate jewelry and sort of make it your own. And so in thinking about, you do so much estate jewelry, I was curious about maybe some of the common questions you get when it comes to that topic.
That's a great question.
Well, estate's a big part of our business.
Right.
It is a big part of our business.
I am personally making it my goal to find estate sales soon so that I can figure out how to get some really beautiful jewelry to bring you.
You can find them. Yeah.
I mean,
we have people that come in and
treasure hunt, right?
Evaluate this.
Is.
I just went to a
absolutely.
estate sale. And
Or yard sale.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you how many people have come in, they just popped into a yard sale. They found a box that had 5 or 10 rings in it. There happened to be 1 or 2 real pieces in there, and the rest were faux. And
they spent
it's just
$14 for the box.
And then they get
it's treasure hunting. It's time and treasure hunting.
We could go down a
how
whole
many times does that truly happen? Not
fun
very
of the
often.
hunt.
The lottery,
but it is the thrill of the hunt.
I love that. Yeah, I don't know if I'd have the patience to be a true treasure hunter,
I'm not
but
sure that I would either.
That's amazing that somebody might spend $10 on a box and come out with this beautiful diamond or
it's
beautiful
fun. It's
jewelry.
But one of the common questions for estate is, when you talk about estate jewelry, you can talk about periods of time. Okay. So the actual age of the jewelry. Estate jewelry can be purchased, it could have been purchased 10 days ago. It's used. So that term is, so you've got like vintage and you have estate. So there's multiple terms associated with sort of the same thing.
That's interesting. It's not just my grandmother's jewelry.
Right. But one of the common questions is, can you help me separate this? Mother passed away. She has her aunt's jewelry, her uncle's jewelry. Haven't done anything with those for 25 years. They've just been sitting in the safe. Now I have been given all of this stuff. It is time to do something with it. What can I do with this?
Yeah, I mean, the most common thing too, I mean, along with that, is people come in and they're like, I don't know what, I've got all this jewelry.
Sure,
I don't know if it's costume. I mean, what do I do with it? I've asked my kids, my grandchildren. Nobody wants any of the jewelry. They don't want it. It's not their style. It's, whatever the reason is. And we're like, yeah, we'll look at it and just at least tell you what's valuable and then what is really not valuable or important to
But I love that you've pointed out style, because you can fix it to match their style.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
When you find an estate, a lot of times people will take a meaningful piece, something that they remember seeing on her. Let's say, for example, it was their mother, and it was a beautiful bracelet that she constantly wore, and they might want to take that particular piece because it's something that they remember. It doesn't necessarily have to be expensive; it's more sentimental.
Sure.
So the other things really don't mean anything. So people will take the things that mean something, and they'll repurpose those, and whether they go to another family member or themselves, they're going to see the light of day again. They're going to be worn. The other items will get repurposed. They'll get recycled. They may go right back out into the estate case if they are of a good enough quality and they still have a life left in them.
Yeah.
So we want to try to find a home for all of these things if we can. Just sending it to the recycling facility is not the best answer for a lot of pieces of jewelry. If it can be fixed and if it is worth fixing, it surely must be.
I love the sense of responsibility that you clearly take in that role.
To a degree, there is, because there are some things that just don't need to go to the recycling bin.
Right.
There are others that must.
That's up to you to decide, though, not me.
But there are beautiful things that really need to see the light of day again.
Right.
Well, and I think the other, sorry to interrupt.
No,
but
you're
the
fine.
other question that we get asked a lot and calls about is, I need an appraisal.
Oh, my.
And so...
That seems like a pretty
at
daunting.
least 4 times a day. I mean, and that's not an exaggeration. I need an appraisal. Do you do appraisals? Yes. But what do you need the appraisal for?
Right.
So a lot of people have the misconception that they want to sell their jewelry, but in order to do that, they need an appraisal to sell. So I'll let you take it from there because it's... So
Well, thank you for that.
there's
Thank you
lots
for
of
that.
reasons. I mean, I was just thinking, what is the other biggest thing? It's appraisal.
Yeah, it's kind of like the term estate. There's multiple meanings for an appraisal. If you're going to sell something, we're not really appraising it. We're just providing what we feel like it is worth for me to purchase. But then there are other levels of appraising. So you can appraise things for insurance purposes.
That was my next
from
question.
the
Perfect
retail
sense.
from the retail side. Then we'll also do kind of what's considered a fair market value. So if you were going to want to sell it to another consumer, they're going to want to know what this piece is prior to selling it.
It goes along with estates.
Yeah.
Like if they're having to divide assets.
Yeah, well, that's next.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I jumped ahead.
that's next.
We're just excited.
I do that a lot.
We're just excited about it.
But then that last piece is kind of that distribution amongst family members. So you kind of come up with a value, and in today's times, you might have a family member in Louisiana, California, and New York. So how do you determine value in all these different places? Because gas is not the same in every single town, right?
And now you're involved in a family situation.
That's right, and it's in. I'd say half of the time it's heated.
Of course.
Brother doesn't like sister, and
Right.
the other brother is the one in the middle who has to deal with all of this.
Right.
So what we'll do is we will provide a price where you could go anywhere, and then come off of that price with a discount. So it would be basically the same price in New York and in California and Louisiana, for example. And so when we do that sort of a value, it makes it a little bit more consistent
Right.
Across the board and easy for everyone to determine what value is and how you distribute that amongst the family members.
Tom, I think you're not only a gemologist, now you're part family therapist.
Oh, no. But yes,
Jewelry estate planner.
Unfortunately, that does occur. Yes,
Yeah,
it is part of the job.
Yeah. And so you had pointed out the last step, and I don't maybe we covered that, but in thinking about all the other pieces that go with that sort of not complicated situation, but you have a lot of things to think about when it comes to a family or multiple family members dealing with that. I mean,
Absolutely. I mean, the situation can be just as simple as one person coming in, doing the transaction, and done. And then we'll have multiple pieces, multiple people involved, and it can get very complex because one person might want something, one person might want something else, and then determining how you come up with that value so they can take the ring, they can take the pendant, and $50 make it even. I mean,
Well,
honestly, that is sometimes how it comes down to,
Right.
amongst family members.
Well, and I think that, and the role that you play is it's so much more nuanced than simply being a jeweler. I mean, what you've just described is essentially you're kind of catering to a lot of personalities, a lot of opinions, and making sure that it all kind of stands true to what that family wants at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And I think it's a really beautiful moment. It's a point of pride for you to be able to handle those things. And so, what other things about your business, what are you most proud of AmRhein's and the work that you're doing in our community?
I'll let you take that one.
Well, I mean, it's obvious that we're more than just a retail shop where you come in and shop cases. I mean, we pride ourselves on providing services to people in all areas of their life, with whatever's going on in their life that is around jewelry. So I don't know. I guess I'm most proud of the fact that we're now in our 4th generation, and our daughter is Hannah. She's in the business as well, and we're training her for the 5th generation. We'll see how that goes.
I love that so much.
She's only 25, and there's no pressure. So
Right,
whatever she decides to do, but what I appreciate most is customers that come in, because we've been around for so long, and being the oldest jewelry store in Roanoke, is we have generational customers. So we have grandparents that have shopped with us, and then their daughters or sons, and then the children are come in to shop with us or need help with whatever. So I love that part about our business, and so what do you say?
Well, I would certainly echo exactly what she said, and I think one of the things that I feel like I personally am very proud of with our business is that we cater to anyone. So whether you come in and you need to get a watch battery replaced, or you want to buy a $50,000 diamond, we're going to provide that time that you need to do what you need to do. And whether that's while you wait, or whether it's a project that takes 6 months to complete, we're going to give you the time that you require, and we'll do our best to do that. So I think service is really one of the things that I'm most proud of, is that we take our time, no matter what it is that you need, no matter how much it costs. If you came to us and you want us to help, if you want us to help you with this project, we would love to do it, and we just appreciate that. So money doesn't necessarily, money is not all, but making something beautiful and seeing that other person's face when they come in after it's been presented, priceless.
I love every project has such care into it, like you said, whether
Absolutely.
it's a watch battery or a huge, project that is going to take a few months.
Absolutely.
And so you had mentioned AmRhein's being the longest, jewelry store here, and the generational impact that you have, it makes you stand out truly from other jewelry stores. And so I was thinking about the fact that, we're talking about Bride Book and our engaged couples coming in to see you, and you get to know them. And there must be a lot of work that goes into a beautiful engagement ring, and making sure that it's exactly, what the partner wants, what they're looking for. You probably really get to know them on a very personal level in terms of their style and preferences and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, getting the time that it takes for them to come up with the design that they want, or picking out an engagement ring. They come back 2 and 3 and 4 times, and you do. It's more of an intimate setting. You learn about how they met, and you learn about their love for one another, and then you can see why they click and their personalities. So it is a really nice thing to be with our customers in that way,
Right.
and especially as they start their life together, and we've always feel so blessed that we've had the opportunity to be part just a small little part of their love story.
I might argue
So-
you're a huge part. You're sort of the kickoff to the whole thing,
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
because
Yeah,
they
that's
might have been together for a short while or a
Right.
long while, but this is the first step that it takes. You know, typically when you ask a bride, what's the first thing? You know, the ring. It's
Yeah,
the ring. That
yeah.
matters to me. Whatever that style or size of diamond or preference is, that is
Right.
the first step into their new marriage and their life together. So that's really beautiful.
And in some instances, it's the first time he's ever been in a jewelry store.
Yeah, true. She's been looking for years at what she wants. But
See, that's so curious. I know, again, not to put you on the spot, but some women dream of their ring
Yeah,
for
sure.
years and years, and
Yes.
others might kind of come in a little more hesitant, not sure what they like or know that they love. I'm curious about how you handle that. A bride who, you know, she knows what she wants coming in the door. She knows what she's going for. She's going straight to the specific ring. How do you handle a bride like myself, who at the beginning wasn't quite sure what I wanted? How do you not handle me, but like,
Yeah,
how do
yeah.
you
I know what
provide
you
me
mean.
the information I
Right.
need to know what I want when I don't know yet?
So that's one of the great things about how we work with couples or the fiance, the lady. We want to sell them the diamond. We want to be their jeweler, right? For life, for anniversaries and
Exactly.
birthdays
For
and all
children
that,
and
right?
they're generational, like you said.
But we do take the time to educate each person on what they're buying so that they know a little bit about diamonds. They understand the difference between natural and lab grown. And to teach them a little bit about how do you shop for diamonds, the 4 C's. A lot of them know about the 4 C's, but so I feel like we do a really good job of that. And a lot of times people will come in to shop with us and they've been around shopping at other places and they're like, wow, like I never knew all of this. So whether they buy from us or they buy from someone else, we feel like we want to educate them as well as, sell them their diamond.
Right. Well, it's funny. My husband was probably one of your examples of the first time in a jewelry store when he went to buy my ring, and it was very, I was not helpful at all because I didn't know what I wanted.
Yeah, right.
He went in and told the jeweler, "I know she wants a big diamond. Like she wants a carat. Like that's the deal.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to look like, how the rest of it's going to go.
I just know the size.
I just know she wants to keep it simple, but also be seen from space.
Right.
So but that being said, it's sort of that must be an interesting challenge when you're sort of, and especially if it's a surprise and the bride doesn't really know or anticipate.
Sometimes they
this is coming.
change their mind. Like they come in with one idea, like this is what I want,
all the time.
and
Right.
then
absolutely.
after we teach them a little bit and teach them how to shop for a diamond and what's important to think about and how to look at things differently, then they're like, well, maybe I don't really want what I thought I did.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
I
It's
mean,
not all the
when-
Pinterest boards,
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, but
It's a good place
you
to
have
start.
You have to
Yeah.
realize too that just because you see something on someone else,
Right.
or you see something on your phone and you pinned it on Pinterest, and you have this whole catalog of all these wonderful rings that you love, and then you slide another one on your hand and you go, wow, that looks amazing. It's not at all what I thought it was. That's the one.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just that easy. You have to try things on that you're not anticipating you're going to like. And I think that's one of the things that I try to do for customers is I force them to try things that they're not wanting. And if they say no immediately, that is perfect.
Right. You have a direction to go in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But sometimes you will slide something on a lady's finger and they will go, wow, that's the ring. And I didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
But
Like
on
trying
their
on
hand,
clothes.
it just
Right?
it just
Exactly.
looks right.
Yeah.
Longer fingers,
Yeah.
longer stones, shorter fingers, shorter. There's lots of different things, different colors on skin tones, and so there's a lot of.
I love that. And I'm
There's a
not going to
lot
lie. I love my diamond, but like a pink diamond would be just perfect.
We have those.
Well, in that case, I'll be seeing you next week. My husband's going to be very upset with me.
Yeah.
But I mean, that must be so rewarding and in general, to have a couple so happy with their engagement jewelry or their wedding jewelry. I mean, at all. But to have that challenge of not knowing or having an idea and it going completely in another direction, you have managed to provide such a wonderful service. They had no idea what they were getting. I mean, that's really amazing.
It is true. I think in a lot of instances, she will come in and she will have this thing on her phone, and that's the ring. But, those other cases where they just don't know, and they just sort of, and I kind of liken it to bumper guards in a bowling alley. We are here to keep you within this lane.
Right.
And when you come out of the lane, we bump you back into the middle.
Right.
I think,
And we just sort of help you down the road, until we complete the project.
Yeah.
I think too, when people come to our store, they are looking for engagement rings. They want to find the case that has all the and they'll look and then we say, we can do custom too. Like you're not.
Oh, and now
held
you've just
to
totally
all
given them a
this.
whole
And they're
new-
like, you can. So we've done custom with the prongs were angel wings.
Oh,
We've done that.
You think of.
Wow.
We've done what else? Oh, we've done a moss agate engagement ring. We've done a salt and pepper diamond engagement ring. What else? Oh, we had one lady that her grandmother owned a gold mine in Alaska, and she came to us and brought us raw gold. And she
Correct.
wanted that gold to be used, and we create her engagement ring. So we sent it off to get the little, what are they called? Pellets, I guess?
Yeah,
Gold
well,
pellets.
yeah.
And then we melted it down in-house, and our jeweler made her entire
long
engagement
process.
ring from the gold
Carry
that
an
her
Alaska gold in your
grandmother
pocket.
had in Alaska.
Oh my gosh,
It's
that's
a
amazing.
much,
We have some
much
really
longer
cool-
process, but
Sure.
still a very fun project.
It's like my
worth it, yeah.
favorite project.
Just
I
a-
I mean,
love
that's
that.
amazing that she
That was
just
There's a reel. There's a reel
walked
about
into
that
your
one
store and
on
handed over
Instagram,
some
I think,
gold.
right? Is it still on
Yeah,
Instagram?
yeah, it's still on
there's a reel
Instagram,
still on
yeah,
Instagram.
Okay, good. Well, we'll have
Yeah,
to
it's
direct
in
We
you
there.
saw
there.
the
It's kinda
project
fun.
from the whole time.
I wanna see the salt and pepper ring.
Yeah, they brought the
Yeah.
placer gold,
Yeah.
just in a little baggie, and we had to send it away to purify it.
That's amazing.
And then we had to alloy it, to bring it to the carriage that she wanted. Then we had to cast a piece and set stone, do all that.
Well, and this is a great seg because we're talking about custom jewelry. And so along with your role as gemologist, because of this custom design, take us through the process. I mean, I know you kind of just did as far as,
Well.
here's a piece of gold out of my pocket, but like, what does that process look like if I come in and I say, I really want this beautiful custom piece? What's the first thing you're doing with me besides what the heck do you
Well,
want?
the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask for your inspiration.
Okay.
Okay. So
All right. My
most
Pinterest
of
board, got it.
most of
Yeah,
the time,
correct.
people will come in and they will have what they're looking for on their phone, and so then we will do the dance in the store to make sure that's not what you want, and then we will decide all the small subtleties that maybe you didn't anticipate, or or my jeweler will say, hey, we need to add some strength or some support here because this is really not feasible. Maybe they want to change the center stone, shape, size, color, and all those things. And then so once we have narrowed down the actual design itself, we'll move to the next phase, which is the computer animated drawing phase. So we'll take that ring, that idea, and then whether my jeweler has to draw it first and then put dimensions to it, or we'll take a ring and send it away for scanning, and then it becomes an image itself, and then we can wrap that band around the engagement ring. So there's lots of different ways to do it, but then it'll go computer animated drawing. Then that client will approve the drawing, make whatever little small subtle changes we need. Then that piece will go into production. So it'll go into casting, it'll go into finishing, it'll go into setting, and then it's on your finger.
That's amazing. So the evolution of the computer generation, I mean, that must have been something from your early beginnings as a gemologist to now. I mean, the technology that's used to create and to sort of
Night
help
and
you
day.
along. Really?
Night and day.
I mean, you're talking about, we're coming from a magazine who used to, write things out
Right.
by pen and paper
Yes.
and go
And it
to
was
a
all
printer,
done by
you know.
sketch. And it was all done by sketch.
I mean, nowadays to create a 3D animated piece that's wild.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's a new world from a lot of perspectives. I think it opens up immense opportunities and immense challenges at the same
I
time.
was just about to ask. I don't want to say that it makes your job easier. It in turn, of course, everything has a pro and a con. So
It does.
you have to figure out what those next steps are.
It absolutely does.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Gosh.
Customers love it though.
Well-
See
I
their
bet they do.
idea like
I
come
bet
to
they
life.
do.
But every day to walk in with an agenda of things that I really want to do today, and then do nothing on that list of things
yeah.
because 2 or 3 people walked in, and sometimes that takes a couple of hours. But then just maybe that first 30-minute meeting might take 5 hours on the back end. We're working with a beautiful project now where we're actually custom cutting the diamond
Wow.
from a piece of rough. to start the project.
Yeah. Wow.
So, whether it's
Literally from scratch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's amazing.
It can be just as easy as just modifying something in the simplest of customization, because there's different kinds of custom. So you can kind of personalize it and make it your own. You can modify something that's existing. That's kind of like family pieces, right? So you've got, mom's ring and you love the center stone, but maybe you want aunt's ring and uncle's diamond to go on the side of that. So that's kind of like your modification or personalization. That's not purely custom, but that is a form of custom.
And a ton of excellent customer service and time and thought and heart
We
going
hope so.
into it. I mean, my goodness.
We try.
Yeah, well.
We're not 100%.
You've been around long enough, I think
don't
you're
get me wrong.
Well, I think that's one of the things too that we're proud of is that we have stayed within our roots of manufacturing. So because we can complete a truly custom piece. It's a lot of manufacturing. It's a lot, like you're saying, recutting something from the rough and doing all of that. So I like the fact that we've evolved, but we've also stayed true to our roots and where we came from.
Each project is so unique that it does kind of gives you that feeling of doing something that you haven't done before, or doing it in a way that you haven't done it
no
before.
Day's the same, really.
And then
We like challenges.
and then creating, that inspiration from that client might inspire the next client who walks in the door, which happens quite often.
Right.
We'll show some of our beautiful creations, and someone will go, "Wow, that's amazing. I would like that, but can you just move that to the side, and can you add that here? Yeah, that's my ring."
Wow.
Sometimes it works like that.
Yeah, I don't need a Pinterest board. I just need to hang it on your Instagram feed. That's what I need to do, and just see all the inspiration you're going to give me.
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Sure.
So, before we start our next little game that we're going to play, I'm thinking about events. You have events that are maybe coming up. You're excited about this year?
Well, yes. July is our Christmas in July sale, and I don't have the dates in my head. That's on a calendar
That's
somewhere.
all right. We'll point you to the website and
it's,
they'll-
yeah. But that's where we have most of our jewelry in our store for 30 to 50% off.
Including pink diamonds, huh? I can't wait.
Yeah, sure. For you,
No
Liz, anything.
I love
we'll
those
do
words.
60 with that. And then in November, we always celebrate our anniversary in November.
Excellent.
So we'll have a big week of some sales and open house with candy and food and drinks and different things like that.
And lots of sparkles.
Yes.
That sounds amazing. And just a reminder, we're talking to, couples who are engaged or thinking about being engaged, but this is so much more than an engagement ring. This is the rest of your life of jewelry. This is your wedding day necklace and earrings. And there's so many options that you all offer. And, and thinking about the generation that you're going to pass it on to your future family. I think that's really beautiful. You have such an incredible opportunity to affect so many people in our region and the stories that they're going to share with their families. So I think that's really beautiful. Thank you for the work you're doing.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been fun.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah.
Oh, but before you go, so because we're very excited about our inaugural episode, let's have a little bit of fun. A quick game. You supplied the questions, and now we're going to call it Wedding Whirlwind. That's our new game.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, boy.
So-
Wedding
We're in trouble.
whirlwind.
I'm going to say 2 words, and you pick your favorite. You ready?
No.
Okay. Well, you're the diamond. You're the guy.
We need some background.
All right. So, white gold or platinum?
White gold.
White gold.
Oh, both of you said the word platinum earlier.
Yeah.
Not saying it for this choice, but you were talking about platinum, so I thought for sure that's where you're going to
Platinum's
go.
hard to work with.
Okay.
Yeah.
I bet I know the answer to this one. Natural diamonds or lab grown?
Natural.
Natural.
Okay. Well, that one, Sapphires or rubies? Ooh, that's a good one.
Sapphire.
Oh, perfect.
I'd go sapphires just because I love blue.
I do too. Okay. All right. That's a good one. Rubies are gorgeous. No lie.
Yeah,
very
yeah,
pretty.
they are.
Sapphires are almost more unique, I think. You don't see them out in the wild quite
Yeah.
so often. Okay. Round cut or emerald cut?
Round.
I'm going to say emerald.
Okay.
Only round is the cut, right?
Sure. Yep.
That's
Yep.
the classic. But I love all the different shapes that diamonds come
I do
in,
too.
like pears, and I
I
don't
had
know.
no idea there were so many until
Yeah.
when we got engaged. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Anyway, so prong setting or bezel setting? Is that how did I pronounce that right?
Bezel.
Bezel,
Yeah,
okay.
It depends where you're from.
Well, bezel. Okay.
We don't mind.
Well, first of all, tell me what a bezel setting is.
Where the stone is, it can be partial too. So where the stone is set within metal, and so that can be completely surrounded or can be halfway.
It's like
Okay.
wrapped around the stone.
Okay.
You've seen
All
that.
right.
So
I
you
know
got
you've seen
so you
that.
got metal around the
All
outside
right.
of the stone.
So you picking that or prong setting?
No prongs.
Okay.
And bezel.
Well, I like you two balance each other out.
It's in now. It's trending.
Well, that is my
So.
next question. Trendy jewelry or classic jewelry?
Classic.
Well,
I like trendy.
well,
We're married, really. We are.
my husband and I are opposites, I understand. Well, and real quick, to sort of dive off of that, trendy jewelry. So it's 2024. What is some trendy jewelry today that you're seeing a lot of engaged couples asking about or preferring?
Oh, that's a really great question.
Yeah.
I'd like you to ask me that question in about 45 days after we attend our big show, which is coming up.
Okay.
And so we're really going to get an opportunity to see what all of our vendors are considering the trend of the year.
Okay.
And so we really haven't gotten to that point yet, per se. It hasn't really been unveiled, but yeah.
Well,
Well,
Jackie,
I mean,
you ask,
I don't
you
know,
talk trends.
like the 3-stone ring
Okay.
is kind of in, where you have the center stone and one stone on each. What else? The halo, completely out. Like, people are not even. But the other thing that is the peekaboo diamond, which is on the side of the ring, and then the diamonds that are underneath.
Yeah, what you call the bonus diamonds or diamonds
So,
within gallery.
I like the word bonus diamond.
Yeah, there's lots of. I mean, I think trends are very unique. Trends you see in California and New York are not Roanoke trends yet, and so the things that we see 3 and 4 years ago commonly will be here now.
Right. Just like fashion, just like
Yeah,
everything else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It just and it comes around too. It's very secular.
I love that.
And so, what is trendy now? Gosh, it's really hard. It's really hard to say. It just
Okay,
depends
well,
on who you are and where you're from.
In 45 days, Sarah is going to do a blog post.
Absolutely.
And you're going to share with
Okay,
us what
yeah.
the trendy
When you come
jewelry is,
back-
and we're going to share
When you
that.
come back from Vegas,
Yes,
you'll have to tell us.
when they tell us what the trend is,
Yeah.
we're going to tell you what the trend
All
is.
the sparkles and the sparkliest city
Yeah,
possible.
absolutely,
I love it. Yeah, so
absolutely.
that's what we'll do. We'll do a trendy jewelry blog post for
Part two.
AmRhein's. That sounds great. Okay, last 2 questions of our little wedding whirlwind game. One of a kind or similar style?
One of kind.
One of a kind.
Obviously, got to do it.
Yeah.
And then custom design or name brand?
Custom.
Custom.
Well, I mean, that's your specialty, I think.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I think those are great choices. So that was our wedding whirlwind game with Jacquelyn
That was
and
fun.
Tom. Yeah, that was
That was
fun.
fun.
Thank you for the great
It was
questions.
easier than I anticipated.
Yeah, well, you
You had me there for a
such
moment.
intricate knowledge of it that it
Oh,
probably
no.
is hard to pick a
Yeah,
favorite out of
something too
everything.
simple, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Well, that was our fun little game, AmRhein's Jewelry, playing along with our wedding whirlwind game. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we head on out? I'll make sure we point all our listeners to your website and, of course, to your social media platforms and making sure that they see more inspiring jewelry. I can't wait to see the salt and pepper ring that you mentioned. I'm fascinated by this.
Well, I would just like to say thank you to you guys and to the Leisure Publishing, but I also would like to say thank you to all of our customers. I don't think we get an opportunity to say that enough, but we have some of the best customers in Roanoke, and we just love all of them, and just the friendships that have developed, and they'll have deaths in the families or weddings or new births, and we get to celebrate with them, and we just are friends with our customers, and I just appreciate the friendship. That's kind of what keeps us going, really.
It does. I would echo that.
We
Echo that
can't
sentiment for sure.
do this every day if we didn't see our people come in. And we just get to just talk to them about life and what's going on with
And
their
I
life.
love that. I know coming from Bride Book as far as the wedding couples and things like that, but you've touched on so many different parts of a person's life that can occur to them, whether it's an anniversary or death or custom jewelry from an estate sale. I mean, you really have an opportunity, again, to affect so many people in our community in such a valuable way that will last forever, because diamonds are forever, as Monroe once said.
Fun way.
Well, thank you so much for both being on the show today. We really
Thank you.
appreciate your
Yeah,
time.
it's been fun.
Thank you. It's been such a pleasure having you on our very first episode
Yay!
of Bride Book
Awesome.
Unveiled. Thank you. Listeners, if you would like to learn more about custom jewelry and more gorgeous creations, and of course see the bling in person for yourself, please be sure to check out AmRhein's Jewelry at 4347 Starkey Road in Roanoke. Check out their social media platforms, or you can visit their website at amrheins.com. That's AmRheins.com. Thank you again to Jacquelyn Amrhein-Sells and Tom Sells III from AmRhein's Jewelry for joining us on our very first episode of Bride Book Unveiled as they share more about their business and how our wonderful local couples can find the perfect jewelry for their engagements, wedding days, and so much more beyond. Don't forget to grab our latest issue on newsstands now or see more, including our Best of Bride Book 2024 winners, Wedding Wednesdays, and Vendor Love Thursdays at bridebookva.com. Join us next time as we continue to explore the wonderful world of weddings. Until then, happy planning and sparkle on.